So during the pandemic, the UK economy was hit incredibly hard. We lost about 20% of our GDP. Now, a lot of other countries were hit as well, but they were nowhere near hit as bad as we were. Like I say, the next closest country, I believe, was either Spain or Portugal. I can't remember which one it was, but they were about 13%. That's quite a large difference. That is quite a large difference. You're talking a 7% difference in GDP. And that is quite huge because, again, when you're talking GDP numbers, small seismic shifts of about 2 to 3% are considered to be either really good or really bad, depending on which direction they go. And the fact that we have 20% and a 7% difference between the next closest country to us that got affected, kind of bad, kind of very bad. And a lot of people, even myself, suggested when the pandemic first started that it was an absolute godsend for the Brexiteers because they can now start to hide Brexit underneath the coronavirus rug. And it will be, I can almost guarantee you, all the failings that Brexit has been bringing up recently will be blamed on COVID. And they're not going to be able to hide it forever because, again, the excuse won't wash forever. Like I say, sooner or later, COVID will end. And like I say, we've said it before, Brexit is far, far from over. And today, we've learned from a think tank that the UK economy, not only because of COVID, but because of Brexit as well, is going to suffer a 700 billion loss of output. 700 billion. That is a whole lot of money. And especially coming out of this pandemic, where we need more than ever a government that is going to actually invest in the UK and actually help the UK build back to something better. We can absolutely forget it because, again, the Conservatives are very ideologically driven. We are going to fall back very, very hard into austerity. Like I say, in Rishi Sunak's budget, again, back in October, there was an 8% budget cut pre-baked into it. Like I say, they're going to fall back right back onto old bad habits. The idea of that they're going to invest in places and level them up. Well, we already saw yesterday from Liz Truss's absolutely catastrophic blunder that all these new businesses that have moved to these free ports will now essentially be shut out of key markets. You know? And like I say, Boris isn't going to keep his promise to level up because the two big ideas at the moment of levelling up and global Britain, the Tories are already pinning their mast to global Britain because they want the UK to become a low-tax, low-regulation country. Not what a lot of people actually voted for, but that's what their intentions are. That's what all their talk leads to. And so we're going to jump into today's article to discover more about our economic situation. So before we jump and dive into that, please do remember to hit the like, share and subscribe button, and also down below there is a link to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me a Coffee where you can buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all the people who do support me that way. It is very, very much appreciated. So I say this comes from The Guardian and the title is UK economy to suffer a 700 billion output loss due to COVID and Brexit, think tank warns. So, Britain's economy is on track to suffer more than 700 billion of lost output caused by COVID-19, made worse by the government's mishandling of the health emergency and Brexit. One of the UK's leading economic think tanks has now warned. The National Institute for Economic and Social Research, or NERS, says that the UK was facing worse permanent damage than other rich nations due to a poor COVID-19 response from Boris Johnson's government. Despite an improving growth outlook, thanks to the rapid progress with the COVID-19 vaccination programme, It is the sheer scale of the UK's economic collapse last year. The worst annual performance for over 300 years meant that Britain was further behind other major economies such as the US and Germany. The UK's oldest independent economic research institute said that the level of GDP was on track to be almost 4% lower in 2025, and that it would have been without the pandemic, equivalent to £135 per person per year. It said that the cumulative loss of the economic output would be 727 billion over the 5-year period. Again, that's just a staggering amount of money to think about. But again, when you're playing like nations, that's the level of money you're playing at. So, while all countries have seen downgrades in their economic outlooks, which have handled the COVID-19 well, are likely to find that their long-term growth prospects are downgraded by less, it said. The critical report of the government, of the Institute, said that a decade of austerity-driven cuts overseen by the Conservatives had left the UK's health and social care capacity in a weak state as the pandemic struck. Highlighting research showing the UK had among the lowest numbers of hospital beds and doctors per person among advanced nations, it said too little of spending previously is likely to have contributed to 2020's high COVID-19 mortality rates. The UK economy shrank by 9.8% last year, the worst performance in the G7 countries, and as the government delayed the launch of the lockdown, it took longer to relax the measures, and as well as due to higher rates of social spending in the UK than other nations. However, the think tank also said improvements in public health prospects from rapid progress of administration and the coronavirus vaccine and the lifting of lockdown measures would support a recovery in consumer confidence and a strong rebound in the economic activity this summer. The think tank said that it expected the economy to grow by 5.7% this year and to recover to its pre-pandemic level at the end of 2022. It is a sharp upgrade from its previous estimates of growth of 3.4%. It, however, is significantly below the forecast of the Bank of England for recovery to pre-crisis levels by the end of this year, with growth of about 7.25% in 2021, which would make it the fastest expansion since the Second World War. It said that the UK's open economy would suffer from the lingering impact on world trade caused by the pandemic, while still retaining the negative consequences of Brexit would also have a negative impact. Dr. Handel Kakur, I think that's how you say it, the deputy director of the Institute, said that beyond short-term optimism, the outlook for the UK economy is less certain given the economic and social challenges that existed before the pandemic. Our analysis at a sectoral, regional and household level shows that despite the rhetoric about building back better, existing inequalities would be exacerbated by the pandemic and remain an uneven recovery. So that's the situation that we're in. And like I say, the Tories have been going around, especially at the Hartlepool by-election, singing about how they would help build Britain back better and how they would bring in all these, fantastic reforms and provide all these new investment opportunities, etc., etc. We've heard this song and dance before. Like I say, it's very, very similar to the Northern Powerhouse. The Northern Powerhouse was signalled as the ultimate opportunity for the North, that it would, again, build back better and it would provide jobs and all these usual stuffs. The exact same talking points for levelling up are exactly the same as they were for the Northern Powerhouse. It's just a brand new coat of shiny paint put over it, and it's called levelling up instead of the Northern Powerhouse. Again, they didn't deliver on the Northern Powerhouse. They ain't going to deliver on a levelling up agenda and help the UK because, as we've said time and time again, there are two big ideas at war in the Tory party: global Britain and levelling up. And by the looks of it, the free market fundamentalists are certainly gunning and pushing for the global Britain agenda because they do not want to help the levelling up agenda, because that would mean bringing in regulation, helping to protect the UK trade and industry, They do not want to do that. It is completely against their ideology. And as a result, if you thought austerity was bad, then put it this way, those days of austerity are going to look like days of plenty, considering of what we've got coming down the pipe. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do remember to hit that like, share and subscribe button on your way out. And of course, down below there is a link to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link as well called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, well, buy me a coffee. And thank you very much to all those people who do support me that way. And as always, we'll see you all next time.